Okay, we're finally live after some technical issues. Just love when you try new stuff and that's not work. The learning curve, right? It sucks, but it is what it is. So let me send the link out to everybody and I'll put it in the chats because it's just been a pain in the ass today. So guys, just bear with me for a few more minutes and I'll have you guys up and running. Just give me a minute here. Let me get everything going on this side because everything just went kapoosh on me, and I don't like that. So yes, we are streaming at a different hour because this guy has to be at work tomorrow very very early. So I'm gonna put it in the chat right now. Here's the link. Whoever wants to join us, be free and welcome. The platform is always open. Just don't be a dick. Simple as that. I'm gonna tell you. So I'm gonna get you. Let me get one other person. I know he's definitely gonna be here right now. And let me get the other person. And that should be it for tonight. Let's, and there we go. Alright, I'll give him a few minutes to jump in here. So, yeah, we are streaming at a different hour because your boy got a new job. And his training hours is 3 a.m. So once we're done this stream, I am going right to bed. And hopefully I get a few hours sleep because I'm not used to going to bed before 2 o'clock in the morning. I think I have not gotten to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning in a very, very long time. So that is that's going to be interesting tomorrow getting up at that early. I don't remember, I'm trying to think now. I know I keep saying that. I don't remember the last time that I actually got up that early to go to work. Huh. Makes me think now. When was the last time I got up that early? Let me think now. I think it was like been over 12 years. All right, let's get him in here. Of course, we are always talking about Coach Nick is in the house, guys. Let's blow this shit up. So what's
What's
going on,
going
man?
on? How's it going, man? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly fine. I know you're not a fan of OBS, so hopefully this setup is a little better for you now.
Oh, this looks way better. 1,000 times better.
See, everyone keeps saying that like, OBS is so smooth and everything too. I had that little hiccups. I have the link set up so you can stream it on your channel. Hopefully it works. I'm still
Oh,
testing the
is
bugs
that
out. Is a lot of
that the
settings
link?
I don't know.
Is that the
So
link here on the right?
it should be. Hang on one second. I got a text. To okay.
Oh, that's to join.
So it should be all the way on top towards the left hand side corner if it's working. I'm not sure how to do this with StreamYard. I mean, Restream.
Yeah.
Stream. So try it. Hopefully it works. I can't
No, I
promise anything.
don't. I don't see it. No, that's
I'm gonna.
okay. Let's roll with
Yeah.
this. That
All
way
right.
we don't mess this up.
Yeah. It took a while. Let me figure this out. So I was able to connect both of them together, but that caused some headaches. So I'm not doing that right now. So I need to fix the problems. I'm having. That's the issue I'm having. The issue I'm having is when I schedule stuff, it doesn't let me add a camera and all this stuff. That's what the problem I had. So we're working the bugs. We're working on it right now. So it takes a little
Okay,
time.
I think this is better than the other platform. It was a lot easier to use.
This is very easy. Yes, I'll give you that. It's very easy. Except if your name is Peter and I'm a dumbass. I'm so used to the other one. So that's a different story. But it is easier. But you're more free. You have more freedom to do it. So you got more freedom to do whatever you want. I can't have a little man dance in the middle. It's open flat platform. That's why it's so good about it. You can do whatever you want with these little plugins. But bringing guests is a little more a pain in the ass. So these two work together. Well, I just have to figure out the bugs, and I'm going to do that on my own time. Not here, not in the next 2 weeks because I am been working 16 hours the next 2 weeks straight. So yeah.
All good. Hard work. Well, if anyone is watching, if you see the banner ticking below, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that way you can see more episodes just like this one.
Yeah, without problem that is. So, you and MI on us for 2 weeks now. What's going on? What you been? Are you healthy? You're alive? What's going on? Oh, obviously, you're
Yeah,
alive. I'm
things are going good, man. We're feeling good. I've been working on an important project. Not fully ready to release just yet, but in the next couple days, so probably this weekend. And it's sort of going to be a game changer. So, sort of a men's accountability group, men's coaching group, a space for guys to get together, share their struggles, share their obstacles, help each other out, help support each other, but at the same time also keep a little bit of privacy, where we could have more intimate conversations and bring up deeper topics without it being spread all over social media. So
So is it more like a man support group kind of thing, or is it a little different?
yeah, men's support group, based off self discipline, like fitness. Fitness
Hmm.
is the foundation of self development. So getting our body more fit, becoming stronger, healthier, more energetic. But then other topics in there too: relationships, mental health, stoicism, stuff like that. Any tools that have sort of helped me over the course of my life are sort of going to be condensed into this type of platform. And then that way we could all sort of share, and then sort of have a live coaching group session each week.
Okay, I see what you're saying. And so it's a growth thing, pretty much. Like I call it more a support group than anything.
Yep.
So it works great, in my opinion. Like that. We that's what the problem. Like we don't keep us, not only men in general, women, everything. We don't keep each other accountable. We don't keep each other in check, and that's where the issues come in sometimes. And that's the thing we're working on. And it's something that we all have to work on, I believe.
Oh yeah, it's hard to do things alone. Sometimes we want to. Some people are like that. We want to be like, hey,
Hmm.
I could just do it all myself. But when we're in community or we have support of other people going through a similar journey or similar obstacle, we could each share from each other, and then we sort of help each other grow through that process. And in turn, that also holds us accountable through the process, especially like in regards to things like fitness and stuff like that. Could be like, hey man, this I hit the gym 3 times this week. I'm sticking to the diet. This like it's an extra level of accountability as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's the big thing. You gotta keep each other accountable, big time. So, like I said earlier, the chat. I mean, the link to for jump on with us tonight is right there. So if you guys like to join in, just jump in and have a great conversation with us because we are gonna get into it right about now, actually. So Nick, when I tell you why do you work so hard, what is the first thing that comes to your head?
Of why
Yeah.
is sort of a purpose and mission are the first two things that come to my mind. Definitely, we are put on Earth for a reason, for a purpose,
Hmm.
and that's different for everybody across the board. But whatever that thing is, it's sort of what you're doing on a daily basis in order to serve other people. So whether that's volunteering at a place, whether it's working at a facility like you do, where you help many people, whether it's coaching, whatever that thing is, it's sort of mission and purpose, and that I fully believe that is our main purpose on Earth, is to serve and give value to other people.
And I agree on that. It's a definitely a value. But the other question on top of that, follow up, what keeps you motivated to keep doing that every day?
Um, in all reality, being scared of going to a dark place again. If I
Okay.
have to be 100% truthful, so I was in a very dark place at one point in my life, and it's taken a lot of work to get out of that place. But because that place being so painful and so dark, um, that sort of is endless motivation for me to like keep growing every day, keep getting better every day, and that sort of keeps me on track. And I sort of will remind myself every so often, think even if things are hard, things can be like a lot worse, and they have been a lot worse in my life. So that is what definitely keeps me on track, because not every day I wake up super motivated, ready to go, but I do remember, hey, things could always be worse, so we have the power today to make them better. Let's take action.
And that's one thing I want everybody to keep. Excuse me, my throat closed up. That's one thing I want to get my people in mind. Like you work so hard. Like my biggest fear is similar but different at the same time. Like I never was in a dark place. Excuse me, I never been in a dark place, but I've been into a place like I almost lost everything, and I have lost everything, and I have been rebuilding myself over and over and over, like a phoenix, I would say. So that phoenix is not never gonna go out. He's gonna keep burning again and again and again. And like the last year has been a little bit of struggle with financial stuff, like things being bumping in the roads, and that's fine. But every time something thinks I'm down, I'm coming back stronger and swinging harder. So you can take me down, but you cannot put me down for good. It's every time you take me down, it's only temporarily. Yeah, that one thing I always say.
My favorite quote is by the philosopher Nietzsche, and it is what doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
And that's what it is.
Yep.
And that's a good point too. And it's a very good point because nothing's going to stop us till we're there. Simple. It only takes time. It takes a lot of time to take us down. Like my one big saying is, I don't know if I told you this before. We all fall down. It's not if we're gonna fall down,
Yep.
it's when we're gonna fall down. So
Yep.
as we're tumbling down, I don't fall backwards. I fall forward. So I want to see my fuck ups. I want to see my mistakes. So because when I go back up that mountain again, I'm not making the same mistakes twice. I'm making them better ones.
What is it? A mistake the first time, mistake on me. Mistake the second time, sort of shame on me. Mistake the third time, I'm a complete fool.
Something like that. But I like my version better. Like, if you fall down, you get back up. I'm gonna get that copyright. I have to get that copyright eventually.
100%.
That's a. I know Doctor Yukambi. And again, this is like a last minute change kind of thing here today, guys. So just bear with me. So with this whole little change, so a lot of people couldn't join us today, obviously, because of the hours. This is just screwing this whole schedule, and hopefully it's not permanent. Thank God. So at least you can watch on the rerun. That's the plus part. But let's get into some of the questions I have set up for you guys tonight. Oh, here's your thing that you were saying right there. Stacy goes there. Fool
Yeah,
me
yeah.
once, shame on me. Fool me twice,
Shame on you.
against on you. So, and she does have a good point there. So, the first question has pride. Does pride has a best way I can put this? Do you feel pride has a something to do with your commitment of working and all that stuff?
It, maybe in a way, but we don't want to take that out of context. So pride and confidence in oneself and ability, there's sort of a fine line there. So pride in the fact that you want to think of yourself positively. You want to remember all of the obstacles you've overcome, all the challenges you've overcome, and when you take a look at that, you're like, wow, I am pretty strong. I've gotten over that. I can get over this. So pride in that respect, not pride where you're like so egotistical and you're like, I'm the best person in the world and everyone else sucks. But more so confidence in one's own ability and knowing that you've gotten over harder struggles in the past, you can get over these struggles today as well.
I agree. I'm gonna add a little bit to it. So I do think pride has something to do with it. Some people their pride is too good to ask for help, to ask for, hey, I'm struggling with this. Can you please show me a better way to do this, or anything like that? They're so hard headed they won't ask for that help, and that's the problem. You need to ask for help sometimes. Help is not a problem in asking. It's simple. It's very easy to ask. So I would definitely do that, and that's where the next one comes into. Is you think that people are ashamed to actually ask for help?
Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of us we want to say we did it all on our own, and some of us we do have that power, we do have that ability. But all of us need help in some regard or some sense. We don't know everything, and
Mm-hmm.
so some of us may need help in a certain area. Some of us I've had coaches over the years in regard to business development, in regard to how to coach and things like that, and also like my own sort of stuff that I've been through where I've had male mentors or coaches that I've worked with. And it does take a lot to be like, wow, I actually do need help going through this troubling time. And getting sort of a second opinion or second perspective can be real helpful. But pride does sometimes get in the way, and we don't want to reach out for help or ask for that hand.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a combination of things. Both of them. Asking for help is a very, very hard thing for anybody to do, and it's a hard thing to do sometimes. You don't want to ask for help because you think you fail, but that's not true. You fail. You just is a bump in the road that you actually need that help, and it's nothing wrong with that. It just everybody needs to learn in their own different ways.
Yep.
But what is your way to learn it? That is the biggest question at the day. You need to figure that out yourself. Not me, not Nick, you. Whoever's watching this, you need to figure it out. And don't be scared to fall. You need to fall. Because that's the only way you can grow. If you don't fall, there is no way you can grow. Or am I wrong, Nick?
100%. It's the same thing as a seed falling from a tree, like an acorn falling from a tree. It has to fall. It has to hit the ground. It has to go down into the soil, and then it has a transformation, a metamorphosis, and then it grows into a new plant, a new tree. And so, if that's happening in nature, we could just copy that type of pattern. So that is, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. It just is we're like a tree, like you said. So we bloom like a tree, we grow like a tree. We're exactly like a tree. We're just only difference. We walk and talk and
Yep.
piss and shit and some other stuff in there in the middle. But the point is, we are like trees. If you think about it, we grow from a little child, from a little a penis, from a sperm, and you start growing, growing to this big fucking thing we are now. So it's just time. So you need to grow,
Yeah,
and
and
that's the big thing. Go ahead, Nick.
well, I was going to touch. I like the analogy of the tree because it helps us with seasons as well. So, like if you think of trees outside, if you're in the Northeast, you have winter, spring, summer,
Mm-hmm.
fall. And in our life, we'll go through seasons as well. Sometimes we may be going through a darker time, a colder time. We may be going through our own winter. But knowing we could have full faith that if we are going through that type of time, we have spring and then summer right behind it. So even though it may be cold and dark at this moment in time, right behind that, we're going to have sort of new growth, new identity, new expansion, maybe new ideas, new personality. And that can change our circumstances. So, yeah, I do like the analogy of the tree for many reasons.
And that's a perfect point because it grows. Your roots are your trees. Your legs are your roots. So what you learn is the roots. You stabilize yourself. I did a motivation Monday a while back with that NASA, and actually I liked it when I came across it. I was like, interesting, and it's different because
Yeah.
people don't understand that. You need to be different to succeed in life. If you do what everybody else does, you're not getting anywhere. Get out of your comfort zone. That's the other thing I want to recommend. Like, if you never got out of your comfort zone, where would you be today? You think?
Oh, life would be completely different. And there's lots of times that I had to sort of break out of a comfort zone. One of the biggest changes that happened in my life, I was always really pretty introverted, and I went through a pretty bad breakup around 18, 19 years old. And it was right after that I started going to clubs a little more, and I ended up becoming a club promoter, and it was scary at that moment in time because it was like, oh, in order to get paid at the club, you have to have all these people come and say your name on the guest list. And that forced me to get out, walk around town, talk to different people, meet different people. And that was back when I was like 19, 20 years old. And that really changed the rest of my life. I was able to get different opportunities because of that. Lots of different groups, great interactions, have networked with a lot of great people. So yeah, breaking out of our comfort zone can be super valuable, and it could be something as simple as maybe stopping a stranger in the grocery store next time you're online, and just saying something about something they have on the counter or in their basket, or asking them a quick question, just to sort of break the ice. You don't have to have a 15-minute conversation, but little actions like that can make a huge difference because once you get through sort of that fear and that anxiety, you realize it's not that bad, and those are all little challenges for growth.
So are you telling me you go to the supermarket and pick up girls?
No,
Sounds like that.
I don't do any such thing.
Yeah, you're a fucking liar. I don't believe one word you come out of your mouth now. Because of what you just said and what you said, the way you made it sound like, you're going off the comfort zone to just say hi to this say somebody in there and it just I'm just saying it sounds something different. So that's a thing. I just want to give a shout out to Lady Navarre. I have you seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well, and well, hopefully you're back officially with us now. But yeah, I think you're lying. I think you're picking up girls at the supermarket. Just be honest, man.
Yeah.
Nobody judging you. It's okay. I heard a lot of guys pick up girls from the supermarket. I personally never did that because I'm too chicken shit. But if you are able to do that, kudos for you. I'll give you a round of applause for that. I'm not gonna lie. Like so, if you done it, just be honest.
It's a better place than the gym. It's
You think so?
Yeah, gym is not the most ideal place.
Really, I always hear the opposite. I know if I know, you remember Brittany from Retro, right?
Yeah,
She met her husband at the gym there.
sometimes it could work out, but I I don't think it's the best place.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, as I don't get off too topic. I just want, on your personal opinion, where's your personal opinion if, as a single man out there, pick up a chick? I'm not single, but let's say I was, for argument's sakes.
Without any disrespect, the type of bait you throw out is going to attract the type of person that you're going after.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is if you're going out to a club or a bar hoping to pick people up, understand that you're picking those types of people up that are going to want to go to bars, clubs, party. If that's what you're looking for, then go for it. If you're looking for someone more conservative, you want to meet them in like a library, a social event, an event that you volunteer at, a church, an organization party, things like that, you will find a different caliber of person. And that can make or break because relationships take a lot of our energy, they take a lot of our time, our focus. And so it is extremely important that if we are going to spend many months or many years with someone, that we try to find the right individual to do that with.
Okay, that makes sense. And, yeah, it's. But again, everybody's different. So this whole online thing, I don't think it works personally. I want to put it out there, and I think we need to move on from that conversation before we get ourselves in trouble in here. Because I know I have some females gonna be screaming at the mic at the keyboard in a few minutes. So yeah, I want to get. I'm not gonna open that can of worms at least tonight. Not tonight. Dude, trust me, they're violent. I'm like, you haven't met them yet. They throw shit, they fucking bite you, and like they're fucking like Stacey's very violent. I know her personally. She's violent as shit. So, joking aside, so if you had to divide what's important to you in your work ethics, I'm not talking about work. I'm talking personal life too. How would you break it down?
Of in regard to like list of priority or
Yeah, let's say it's a priority for argument's sakes.
priority is is in my mind, in my personal opinion, um our health is the number one responsibility and number one foundation that
Mm-hmm.
all human beings are responsible for. We have our body for our entire life. It is our responsibility to understand how it works, how it functions, how to make it stronger, better, faster. The reason is this holds the energy of our life. So if we're healthy, we then have the energy, the focus, the power to do what we need to do. And then next in line is definitely our mission, our purpose. That could be your career, that could be your job, that could be sort of the main service that you provide. The main thing that you're doing mostly on a daily basis, where you're working with other people, you're helping other people. And then sort of after that is definitely scheduling time for the people that are most important in your life, family, friends, people that you have a close circle with, because relationships are just as important. So if I did have to break it down, that would be sort of a list of the way I prioritize.
A little pushback here. With that, so you have somebody who works like crazy, like myself and my father. These are two people I know. For example, he couldn't get to the gym. Forget he didn't know how to do the gym thing, but let's say he couldn't. Like he really couldn't because he had to work 15, 16, 17 hours a day, and by the time he gets home, he only gets 4 or 5 hours sleep. How would you direct someone like that then?
You got to meet them where they are, where they're willing to be met. And then also, people have to have the want and the desire themselves to improve or change. But as long as that's there, the information is definitely out there. Google, Chat GPT, YouTube. So it's not a lack of information. It's more so a lack of reasoning. Like, what's the reason for
Mm-hmm.
me getting in shape or getting healthier? Or sometimes people don't even realize, because they've sort of lived a certain way their whole life, they don't realize how much better they can feel the healthier they become. And so that plays a part of it as well. But yeah, it's all like there, because there's always a solution. So if that example that you used, if that person's working a lot and they don't have a lot of time, then you can get them to go for a 10-15 minute walk a day. You can get them to change up their nutrition, make healthier swaps here and there just to make things a little better. That way they're sort of working with their schedule and their lifestyle, but they're still on the path of improving. They're still on the path of getting better.
I agree and disagree because I agree with you 100%. You know how I feel with the gym. It's supposed to be one of the important things. But I know a lot of people who try to make time and just don't have time, unfortunately. Definitely when you're running a business, it's kind of hard sometimes.
Oh
And
yeah.
time is our worst enemy, I think. It's something we can't get back. You put it in, but you can't get it back. So how do you balance is a struggle. I think almost everybody's having it now these days. Like not only me, like with my crazy schedule, definitely now with the new job, it's a struggle now. But people, even with you, you were doing 100 different things. I don't I have last time I spoke to you, like you never stop. Like in general, and I'm not talking about like the last 2 weeks. I'm talking about in general since I met you. Every time I speak to
Yeah.
you, you always have some kind of project or something going on. Like how do you balance everything out?
It all comes that health is the foundation. Like that is a non-negotiable for me. That's the thing that's really affected my life quite a bit. Like it is a non-negotiable. I will be working out 3 to 4 times a week. I will be eating as healthy as possible. I will be intermittent fasting. Like there is no negotiation about that. That comes first. And then from there, I balance the rest of my calendar or the rest of my priorities around that, knowing that that's the foundation because I was very sick before at a different part of my life. So I know what it's like to not have energy, to have your every joint in your body be aching, to have serious digestive issues, all types of things going on. And once we do start to take care of our health, we literally feel like a brand new person. And that energy allows us to do so much more with the time that we're given.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. When you start losing weight and getting healthier, your body feels a lot better. I'm not gonna argue that
Yeah.
when I'm on bed, but it just again, it's time and motivation. That's the other thing too. And that goes. Let's get into the next question before we get too off track. It actually goes with what we were talking about. How do you balance life out with your daily job and life? That is the biggest thing. People don't know how to balance stuff out. Like we were literally it's over now actually on topic, but the point is
Yeah.
trying to get to is the balance thing. It's so hard to even you as a coach. How hard is it to to teach somebody to balance things out?
It is a little hard, but if we mathematically break it down, I'm not perfect at this. It's still something I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
But if we mathematically break it down, let's say we take a week. A week we have 168 hours. And now we're sleeping. Let's say we sleep 8 hours a night times seven. That's 56 hours. So we're looking at 100 and change in regard to the rest of the hours we have. Now, if you have a full time job, let's say 40 hours, so boom, you still have at least 50 or 60 hours each week. Even if you're factoring your commute, you still have at least 50 hours a week to then dedicate. And now, if you hit the gym for an hour session 3 times a week, that's only 3 hours. You still have another 47 hours. But what happens is our time gets taken from us if we don't prioritize. So, next thing we know, we check an email or we look at Facebook real quick. And then, next thing you know, it may not even be a whole hour, but 7 minutes later, we're scrolling down the feed and we're like, oh shit, like that wasn't even what I was trying to do in the first place. And those little distractions is because all that adds up throughout the day, all that adds up throughout the week. And before we know it, we're literally losing hours.
Oh yeah, that's it. You lose. Oh shit, I don't know how. Just Facebook alone, you lose like an hour a day. Let's say maybe more.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to say an hour, a minimum 3 day. I'm not talking about in the morning. I'm just through the day. You get up and you do all this stuff. I'm like, when do you fucking have time to do anything? I'm like, seriously, like you waste. Excuse me. Whoa. Maybe I'm gonna be forced to after or later. This thing is like the worst thing in the world sometimes.
Oh yeah.
As much as we're connected, we're disconnected at the same time because you're going through it, and you go through it, and like in half times you're going scrolling through and you're like, for what? Nothing
Yeah.
crazy.
It takes tremendous willpower and discipline to not do like this is the problem. It's because the way we communicate is on our phone. So maybe we have no intention of even looking at our phone, but then a text message comes in or the phone rings or whatever happens. But after we answer the text message, now we're opening social media or now we're opening email or now maybe we watched a YouTube video, whatever the case is. And what happens is we'll catch ourselves doing that. I know I catch myself doing that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and I'm like, how the hell did I end up 5 videos in on something I skipped over for like 10 seconds? And now I'm like 5 videos in of the feed, and I like catch myself, and I'm like, no, what am I doing? Like it becomes so addicting. I'm on social media because I'm looking for patterns, looking for different topics being talked about, things that I could use in my own content. But still, it's easy to sort of get lost and sort of be like, how did I even end up here?
Yeah, and that's the thing, and like you don't figure out how long you are. You before you know, you look down at your watch, you're like, oh shit, it's an hour already. I'm on this damn fucking thing. Even on the computer, when I'm actually working on the streams or the show topics or whatever I'm working on at the moment, I'm like, I'm typing away. And next time I look down at my clock over here in the corner, like, holy shit, or my watch or my phone, like, oh, it's 3 hours later. I'm like, I don't realize
Yeah,
it, and I just because I'm so focused what I'm doing. And again, that's the technology part of it. It sucks you right in.
yeah,
Uh,
but it can be a blessing and a curse if we allow it. If it enhances our life, it's a blessing. If it's destroying or taking away from our life, then it becomes a curse. But technology also allows us to make a Google Calendar, so we could sort of segment everything, put it on our phone. Stuff like that helps out quite a bit because then things become more organized. Because then hey, it's Wednesday. I'm going to work, and then after work, I'm going directly to the gym, and then after the gym, I'm coming home, I'm cooking this thing. Oh, and then I'm going to work on the computer for an hour and a half tonight.
mhm.
And if you start structuring things that way, you'll be able to free up like 5 to 10 hours a week just through that.
So because I'm glad you actually mentioned it because it goes into my next question about routines. How would you balance routine? How you could structure routine? All this stuff. And I know you're pretty good with this stuff because you're coaching and everything. So
Yeah.
how would you break all this stuff down? How would you like? Let's say you're talking to me. I'm a stupid, dumb, fat motherfucker. All right,
No.
and I'm just expressing speech. And let's say you want to teach me routines. How would you break this down to somebody?
Well, we would first we got to look exactly sort of what your current routine looks like. Then we
Mm-hmm.
got to figure out where you're trying to get to or what you're trying to achieve. And then the next step is figuring out how do we manipulate or change your unique routine to get to that point where let's say you take a regular person with a 9 to 5 schedule and they're not working out, whatever. So we look at that schedule. We say, okay, you're going to be working 9 to 5. Boom. Then we have your commute. Can you get to the gym? Maybe can you do a workout before work or after work? Okay. If you're going to do it before work, you don't need to go every day. But what days this week are you going to go? Okay, Monday. Okay, Wednesday. Okay, Friday. Let's put that in the calendar and pretend it's like a doctor's appointment, or pretend it's a very important appointment that you have with yourself, and then that way you don't break it. And you may miss a day, you may miss something that pops up here and there, but what will happen is over time you're going to build all those little wins in your head, and you're like, wow, I aim to go to the gym 4 times this week, but I only got there 3 days. But 3 days is more than 0 days.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of how you would sort of work through that process.
Okay. So let me ask this other question on top of that. Like, somebody has a crazy schedule, like mine. Let's use mine right now, for example, right?
Yeah.
I start at 3 and I end at 7. So it's only 5 hours to get sleep at top of that because the next day you have to go back to work again at 2 o'clock to 7 again. The next 5 days. How would you break that down then for somebody?
So that's till 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a little tricky. Um,
I got you.
yeah, because you do have to like get home, get ready, get to sleep at a semi decent time because you're probably waking up at like 2 a.m., 2:30,
Close
2
to
a.m.
1 actually, but yeah.
Oh wow. So what time are you going to be going to sleep?
Right after we're done with the stream, like, so that's why we're not getting off topic today. We have to
Yeah.
get done at 8 because I gotta walk the dog and jump right into bed because I already did everything else I need to do. Only thing I gotta brush my teeth, wash my face, put butter in my beard, and go to bed. So this old man and he needs his sleep, his beauty sleep.
I hear you.
So anyway, back to what you were saying. So how would you work with that? Seriously, I know that's mostly on me, but I want to use me as an example right now, a guinea pig, in other words.
So that's a little intense of a schedule because so you don't want to do something where you stress yourself out because then you're going to run into burnout, and if that happens, that becomes a problem because it's going to take a lot to get back out of there.
Hmm.
So like that we would call this is like your busy season right now as you get adjusted to a new schedule and things. But let's say if you take your busy schedule the way you just laid it out, and then we're like, okay, well you got to try to hit the gym 3 times this week and do that like you're not going to have physically enough time to do all that. And it's going to be too overwhelming to try to fit that all in where you just start simpler. Yeah, okay, this is a new position, a brand new schedule, adjusting to a new time frame of waking up and doing your podcast. And so from there, it'd be like, okay, I can't really hit the gym 3 times this week. Can I get there one time? Like what day do you have off? And then be like, okay, then maybe you could schedule the gym for that day at least, that way you're maintaining at least the progress you made where and then as the schedule gets because if you could figure things out when things are really busy, when things get less busy, you're going to be even better. A lot of people say this is not the perfect time. I got to wait till the perfect time, but the perfect time may never actually come. And I'm too busy now. I'm too busy. But if you could try to fit what you're looking to fit into your schedule when it's super busy, imagine when it's open. Now you could fit all this extra stuff in. So it's a skill set that will become super valuable in the future. But if I was to sort of coach you through that, that's how I would break it down is be like, okay, well, what days off are you off from work this week? Maybe let's get to the gym on one of those days, and then sort of figure out the rest of the schedule from there.
So the reason I want to bring that up, I'm using my example, my schedule as example, because there's a lot of people who do have crazy schedules like that,
Yeah.
who life does happen. Unfortunately, I know my best friend says it all the time. His schedule is always impact. He has other reasons too: kid, wife, back problems, and yada yada yada, shows, whatever. He has a lot of things going on, but his busy schedule does not prevent him going to the gym. And it's like every time I call him, he's always have something going on. It's never the thing he's not going on. It's something always going on every single day. Even on the weekend, like I want to. When do you get a day off? Like I don't. So that's how hard sometimes it is.
It is, but the season's gonna end up passing. It will come and go. There's times I was in construction, and sometimes you have deadlines, and there was times I was painting a customer's house at like 11:30 at night. Like it was a rental property, but I was
Mm-hmm.
there till like 11:30 at night. I've been tiling super late at night. So you it's very hard when you're going through it because you're like, wow, I literally have no time in a day to even do anything else. But that may only last a couple of weeks or so sometimes, and then it sort of calms down a little bit. And then you could sort of resume your normal schedule from there. Because I don't think, like in your case, I don't think you're going to have to keep a crazy schedule like that for just like the infinite. So there's probably going to
Fuck
be some
that. No
adjust.
way. No one
Yeah,
can
there's going to
survive
be
that kind of schedule like that, man.
no, there's going to be some adjustment at some point along the way.
Yeah, I think it's mostly just trying to get me trained in and get me in the door finally. The training is the worst part. Sometimes they do what I call accelerated training, and once you get going fast as possible, it's
Oh yeah.
simple. And there's nothing wrong with that. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Um, so when it comes down to that, all that stuff we're just talking about, now, how would you personally start breaking it down? Not as a coach, not as a physical coach person, as a person trying to help somebody else out.
At breaking down their schedule.
In general, in life, like say, you trying to give somebody advice, like a friend, like not as Nick as a coach, Nick to Pete as a friend. Like we're having beers, like dude, you gotta do something. You're trying to like, yo, your schedule's too crazy. You're gonna have to watch your health. Whatever you want to put it down. How would you break it down?
Um, so we sort of would have to see like what are you looking to achieve? Like what it would depend on that person's goal. Like if let's say they have let's just use this for the example. Let's say it's a monetary goal or a financial goal, and they say, okay, I'm willing to commit. I know it's going to be a crazy month or 2 months, but I'm willing to commit to work fucking 100 hours a week in order to get this thing done. If that's that person's mindset, that's how they're thinking, then it's okay as long as they're okay with the fact that, hey, you may not be able to hit the gym as often during this time. Your diet may sort of suffer here and there at this time, but know that you're taking all your energy and resources, you're putting it into a particular direction, And you're going to do that for a very short period of time. Like I'm a firm believer in sprints, as opposed to like long marathons. So it's 100% okay to put all your energy into something for a week or 2 weeks, even a couple of months, and then know that you're going to be able to change directions in the future, or whatever.
Okay, that can make sense. Like, yeah, it's like not 100% great on the sprint part, but yeah, I definitely saying, you might have to keep modifying and changing the way things are going and happening.
Yeah.
So, how would you development of signs of people overworking themselves? And that happens more often now. I
Oh,
am the worst critic with that, overworking myself. Like, I cannot tell you how often I do that. Still do it actually. Um, to the point like the one day off, I'm so cranky because how tired I am. I don't even want to get out of bed. I don't even want to turn my PS5 on. That's how tired I get. That's a lot for me to say.
yeah, but their rest is equally as important. It's like the hard work is extremely important, but the rest and recovery and stress reduction are almost just as important as the hard work.
Mhm.
So like if that was the case, like you have this crazy schedule, I would try to say like, okay, the days that you do have off, try to schedule like almost nothing during those days then, and then maybe use that day to go to the park, go for a walk, anything that, or go for a quick hike, anything that's going to reduce stress. If you want to journal, you grab a notebook and journal. Any yoga, stretching, anything that's restorative. So it's like you have an energy that rises with like a lot of energy and momentum, but then you also have an energy that's very calm, mellow, and relaxing. And we want to be able to create balance between both.
I'm not doing yoga. Let you know right now. Don't
Well, a
even
little bit of
fucking.
stretching is good.
We're not doing yoga. I'm in martial
That's okay.
arts.
That's okay.
I'm
Well,
a
you have
fighter.
to stretch for martial arts, right?
I'll stretch, but I'm not doing fucking yoga. I'm
Okay.
telling you right now, I will never do yoga. I will kick you in the balls before I do that.
Not a problem, but still stretching. So,
Okay. So my point is trying to get to here's why I hate yoga. I don't. Do you know the background of the yoga?
um, go ahead and enlighten me.
Okay. So yoga is created from Tai Chi, the original Tai Chi, not the American Tai Chi. And the original Tai Chi is that real martial arts that muscles actually tighten up and be able to flex in a way. It's very hard to get the techniques down. I've seen it done it. I have done it a little bit myself, not to that extreme. So those guys who couldn't do Tai Chi or martial arts developed yoga.
Okay.
Did you see why I don't like yoga now?
Yoga's still, we got to break down. That's yoga's important. We're breaking the boundaries.
We can stretch. I'm not doing yoga.
Yoga's just dynamic stretching. It's stretching through movement.
Again, I'm just doing stretch. I'm not gonna sit there and go, yeah, fuck you. My instructor hated doing that shit. Like meditation, all that bullshit. No, meditation's not bullshit. I'm afraid of that. The fucking the
Well,
same going on.
you don't have to do that. Just the poses is that's one thing. You don't have to go to the spiritual side of yoga, but just the physical component of moving and stretching the body.
Where I am a fan of upper dog, so this is insane.
Okay.
Not me. You didn't get my joke.
Oh.
Wow, that went on Nick's head. Oh boy. Anyway, let's get back on topic because Nick is not getting my jokes tonight. Okay, where are we? This is going. Okay, motivation behind your work.
um, ties directly back into sort of mission and purpose. And sort of that could be different for different people.
Mm-hmm.
So if and the for instances, let's say you have a family and you have kids, your purpose may just be to provide for your family and for your kids, and so therefore, whatever you're doing on a daily basis to do that, you are living in your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as we're chasing purpose, that's the driving force, because then that gives us sort of that motivation, because it's as long as it's something bigger than ourselves, that's going to keep us going. If it's just up to us and it becomes very selfish, then we're going to lose motivation. But when there's other people that are relying on us, whether it's your family, whether it's your children, whether it's a spouse, whether it's coworkers or a team that you work with, whether it's a group of people that you help support, whatever that thing is, you're providing that service to other people, and knowing that you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it to also show up to help them as well. And that is where the sort of motivation to stay on track will come from.
I agree, but I also agree keep yourself accountable to keep
Oh,
yourself motivated. So for me, just watching a couple motivation videos work sometimes.
yep, yep.
Even some metal music helps me to get into the mood and then you get into work mode, whatever it is. But the one that always never fails. I can't show you here because of the way my camera's angled and everything. I have a checklist on the wall, on a piece of paper, all right? And the checklist is simple: is what my goals are, long term and short term. This is long term on top, short term on the bottom. Because I think the long term are more important than the short term because you can always recalculate the short terms if you need to. So let's say get out of debt, for example, lose weight, or two short terms, and so on. I mean, long term. Short term could be um, getting my windows tinted, for argument's sake, and you save $100 for that, or getting a new tattoo. That's short terms. You know what I'm saying? So that works. Let's give a shout out to my brother Paul. What's going on, brother?
How's it going, man?
So those are just a couple of them. That is my short term ones. If I'm making sense here, am I?
Yeah, and that's important that you brought that up, because that also helps as well too. So what you just described is sort of goal setting. So you have your short-term goals and you have your longer-term goals. But it this goes back to the analogy of the GPS, right? So we need to be able to type in a destination. So if we wanted to leave PA or New York and go to California, we wouldn't just jump in the car and hope for the best. We would like figure out what's going to be the shortest route. Are we taking the car? Are we jumping on an airplane? What way are we going to get there? And that's where your goals come into play, because once you start to pinpoint, okay, these are the goals you're trying to hit, motivation, everything else is going to follow suit, because you're sort of going to feel bad if you don't hit those goals. And you may not hit every single one of them. That's okay. Sometimes goals change over time, but you do need to have some type of template or map to go off of, or otherwise we're just going to be drifting around.
And you got a good point there too. The the one I add to that is, have you seen the Tesla cars? They suck.
Why they suck?
Have you seen it? A lot of people are actually returning them now. They don't last more than a year or two because they start and like one person dropped like 27,000 in his Tesla to get a new battery. It's pretty fucking bad. And I don't know, you just because of what you said, it just came to my head. I just had to bring that up. I don't know why.
That's okay, because Elon Musk is a man of goal setting and motivation. He has the goal of the Tesla cars is not enough, that we have to now build a space rocket because we're gonna start going to
Have you
Mars.
seen the new phone he's about to release soon? Coming out with a new phone.
No, I haven't seen that yet.
The Tesla Pi is called. So it's supposed to be the Android Apple killer. The original story behind this, he's been working on it for a while. I'm not like a year or two. I'm talking like at least 5-6 years. He's been working on this phone. So he went to Apple to team up with him with the Tesla thing and everything because they're a tech company, and they laughed at his face. Tim Cook literally laughed at him, and I said to him, "This is never gonna work." Yeah, yeah. That's why, if you remember, Apple was trying to build an electric car at one point, but they scrapped it because they couldn't figure out how to do it, and probably because of the lawsuit they have on top of that now. So they now he's coming up with his phone, the Pi phone. From what I read so far and looked at it, it seems like it's more for a Tesla owner because it's going to be connected to a car a lot. So
Yeah,
I'm not sure how that's going to be. I'm not sure. It's not a lot of information about how the operation system is going to be running on a person like me and you, a regular person, and how much it's going to cost. You know what I'm saying? Because next thing you don't need to pay a phone for it's like what, $5,000 on a phone versus like
yeah.
Apple is like 15. I think that's too expensive to be honest with you. I think they're way too expensive by now the phones. So, and I'm off topic for a minute there. I had to say that. You put that in my head, fucker. Um, Ch- responsibility. There you go. There's a good one for you, Nick. How would you break down responsibility?
So there, this I have a little story behind this. But basically, when I was going through a dark part of my life, I would always hear the word responsibility, and then one day this person broke it down for me a different way, and once I heard it that way, it changed the definition forever. And basically, it's responsibility. If we take the word apart, is our ability to respond to situations and circumstances. And when we put it that way, it now puts full responsibility on us because no matter what happens in our life, we have that little bit of space to make a choice or a decision of how we're going to respond or to react to a certain circumstance. And that definition of responsibility has helped me tremendously throughout the last decade.
Here's a side question I want to ask you. I've been asking you for a while, and I keep forgetting to ask you this. So, when it came down to this dark time you're always talking about, was it before we met or after?
Definitely before. I was a whole different type of person.
Because I know you're working at Retro when I first met you.
Yep. Yep.
So I don't know if that was what period that was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just made a lot of mistakes in my younger life. Got myself into a lot of trouble, a lot of crazy circumstances. And around 21 years old is when I started to make serious changes in my life.
Okay, so you were a lot older than I met you. I remember, what were you in 25 when I met you or something like that?
Yeah, yeah, yep.
No, shit. I feel old now. Fuck. Seriously. On a different note. Let's get back on topic real fast. Guys, whoever's joining us now, you got the chat. The link for join us is in the chat all the way on top. I can repost if you'd like me to, but if you'd like to join us, join us. I'd love to have you guys. And make sure whoever's coming and watching us now, future or present or whatever, hit the like, share, subscribe. It will be free and healthy for me. So, anyway, okay. So the next question I got for you, Nick, it's okay. You're preparing yourself to work every day.
Yep.
What kind of mindset does Nick have? Let's go with that first.
Sort of what are we looking to achieve for the day? And also a mindset that helps me is every day is brand new. Like this, the sun comes out every day, night happens every night, and then the sun comes out again the next day. So no
Mm-hmm.
matter how bad a day may go, we have a clean slate once the sunrise happens again. We have a clean canvas, a clean slate. We can choose how we're going to show up that day. We could choose to be in a bad mood. We could choose to hold on to old resentments. We can choose to show up with hate and blame, or we could take responsibility for our state and our mindset, and we can show up with love, compassion, purpose, service, and go out into the world and meet the world through that lens. And more often than not, we're going to have a way better day because the rest of the world is going to meet us through that lens as well. And it's something I've had to cultivate over many years because I suffered with a lot of serious depression, like real dark times, real bad. I know what it's like to feel like you don't want to get out of bed. You don't even want to go through your day because you want the day to just end immediately because things are so bad. So I know what it's like to feel that, and I know what it's like to then start to look at things completely different. And basically, we're going to get what we expect. If we expect it to be a bad day, it's going to be a bad day. If we expect it to be a productive, high energy, good day, more than likely that's what's going to happen.
And I totally agree with you because I've been there myself. So, like I've been to the point like I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to do shit. I just want to stay in a dark room and watch TV all day
Yep.
long. I just don't want to do shit. Simple. And it's the hardest part. And I think that's where that leads into the next question is okay. Before we get into the next question, let's touch base for a little more on this. Starting your day out. How everybody does different. Me, I'm easy. Give me my goddamn coffee and leave me the fuck alone. Simple. Now it's black coffee because thanks to Nick. Um, so, but it's everybody has a routine. Everybody
Yeah.
needs something in the morning. Like some people just need their kiss. Some people just need their coffee, tea, whatever that case is. So if that makes your day go better, just make sure you do that. Or am I wrong, Nick?
100%. You want to have something that you can that's going to help elevate your state, right? So when you wake up, The more you can elevate your state, the better you're going to start to feel this the sooner. What I mean by that is like, okay, you wake up. Here's a personal thing that I do. I wake up before I do anything. This gets finished. So it's like 1.5 liters, 1 liter. That gets finished. I'm hydrated, ready to go. I like my morning to be quiet. Then I go to like black coffee, and then sometimes it will be a quick podcast. It may be a motivational video, or it may be, if you don't journal, um, journaling and writing things down can be very, very effective. And just give yourself, even if it's 5 minutes in the morning, just that time to sort of get yourself sort of ready for the day. And that has been something that's helped me tremendously. So it's not the same thing every day. Sometimes once I have black coffee, I'll just be like, okay, I'm going to go for a 10, 15-minute walk, sort of whatever I'm feeling that morning. But anything to sort of prime us to be in a more peak state.
So here's the other one I'm gonna follow up with this because I think you have more, maybe more understanding than I do because I know of it. I don't understand of it because I never went through it. That's why I want to have your opinion. So it follows up with you got your routine, but some people who have SDT. It's called self destruction theory.
Okay.
Another version of what is that? Serversmen have it. PSD. Another version of PSD, pretty much.
Yep.
It
Yep.
is. So maybe you have more knowledge behind that than I do because I don't understand it. I know the knowledge behind because I see my friends go through it, but I don't understand it still. What would you say something like that? People who purposely self destruct themselves, selfully sabotage themselves. Say, okay, I know I need my coffee, like I said, but I'll make sure I don't have coffee because I want to have a bad day on purpose. Not maybe mentally,
Yep.
but you know what I'm saying in the back of their head to do that.
It's a so it's a very complex thing. I don't just want to be like, oh, these types of issues are just super
Yeah,
simple and
take
everything's
your time.
easy. Because some people, it is a very serious thing. People lose their lives over issues like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not something to just make simple. But from a simple lens, looking at it, what happened? Because I'm guilty of this. I've done this throughout my life, especially in regard to addiction. And what will happen is we start to play a certain story in our head, and that's where the problem happens. It's because wherever the mind goes, wherever we choose to put our focus, that's what's going to be in our awareness. And we have the ability to be in the present moment, take a couple of deep breaths, and connect here. Most of us, when we have trauma, the trauma never really fully gets processed. It takes a lot of work to start to process through trauma. Things may have happened in childhood, things may have happened in relationships, things may have happened with our parents, whatever that thing is. Some of us may drag some of that with us throughout our whole life, and we sort of numb ourselves. But we also are addicted to that particular feeling. Even though it sounds insane, why would someone be addicted to negativity? Sometimes they're actually getting an energy boost from it, of being negative or being cynical. Some people are so tied to their identity that that's what's holding them back. And the cycle addiction is a prime example of this, because we have this thought that crops up. It's usually a negative thought about us or something in our life. What will happen is we then realize, oh, back in the future, back in the past, I would use this substance or I would drink this thing, and it would take those thoughts away. And so, boom, we use the substance. That starts to take the thoughts away. But then what happens is now we have a little bit of guilt, a little bit of shame. That starts to now rise to the surface. We don't fully want to feel that. And then we sort of go to suppress it again. And it may not always be substances, it may not always be a drug or alcohol. It can be sort of addicted to negativity, or addicted to gossiping about people, or addicted to being in a bad mood. Because I'm sure you met those types of people that you greet them, hey, good morning, the weather's beautiful, sun's shining, and they respond with nothing but negativity. It's like they're constantly in a bad mood. Some people just want to be stuck there. The solution to this is expression. Expression's the opposite of depression. And so by changing our physical state, because it may take many years to change our mental state, but we could change our physical state in 30 seconds. We could get up, we could do jumping jacks, we could do push ups, we could go for a walk outside, we could do a cold shower, we could do deep breathing, we could do any of those activities immediately. And that right away, there's no way you're going to be able to feel bad once you do something like that. It's almost an
Hmm.
impossibility. And now that you have that good energy that rises up again, it may start to shift for you again. So that, if
Okay.
I had to summarize it, that's sort of how I would lay it out.
So I know PTSD is a very serious thing. I know a lot of
Yep.
servicemen deal with it. A couple of my friends dealt with it. That's how I would take it serious. Again, I don't understand it too much because I didn't go through it. I think when you're gonna break something like PTSD, depression, food disorder, body image problems, like I have, like um, you will not understand why people have that problem till you actually go through yourself. Can you agree on
Yep.
that?
100%. We can't judge a book by its cover. You sort of got to walk in that person's shoes because everyone has a different severity. Sometimes people hold things very well on the surface, but inside they're sort of dying, not physically, but maybe emotionally or mentally. It's a lot of pain for them. So we can't just go around judging people based off an appearance. But what I would say is we do, from personal experience of being someone that has dealt with addiction, depression, attempted suicide, things like that, I could definitely tell you that what happens is we just fixate. We're fixated on the negative, and so PTSD, that may be a specific event that occurred in someone's life, and they're constantly re-remembering that event, but that event doesn't not exist in reality. That event only exists in the imagination. Time has already passed. That event is gone. It will never ever exist again, but the imagination will allow it to exist. It's the same thing with relationships, right? So sometimes we could be in a relationship, and maybe if we've had troubled experiences in the past, or we've
Mm-hmm.
had childhood trauma where maybe parents got divorced, or there was a separation, subconsciously we will hold that and bring that into our future relationships. And we may not, it's not something that we wake up on Monday morning and go, I can't wait to sabotage my relationship. It's something that maybe has been there for 10, 15, 20 years that has never been dealt with through therapy. And therefore now that comes to the surface subconsciously. And now we treat we treat that person a certain way, or we do certain things to sabotage our relationship. Meanwhile, that's not our sole intention. We're sort of doing it from an unconscious place. So we're not 100% conscious or in control when we are self sabotaging. But it takes tremendous work to be able to want to sit with yourself, look at your patterns. A lot of people don't. They want to block the pattern, and that's okay if that's how you want to coast through life. But I'm someone that wants to dive deep. I want to sit with myself. I want to look at my patterns because I almost lost my own life, and this is a second opportunity I have. And because of that, I've done a lot of thinking, or a lot of journaling, or a lot of self introspection, and then you start to see patterns that may have arose from your past, and you can choose to let those things go. The best example is it's a cannonball, right? Have you ever seen the cartoon? You have a cannonball tied to the leg, the prisoner's leg, and they're dragging this heavy cannonball.
Mm-hmm.
We are all dragging some emotional or mental cannonball at some point through our life. It's our responsibility to identify what that cannonball is and cut the chain and get it off of us.
Here's the thing. And I talked to you about it. I talked to public about it too. That I went through my own dark space, not to your extreme. First of all, let me get that clear. Everybody don't want anything. Um, before I get into that, like I'm just glad you actually came out of it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of
Oh,
people cannot even get
thank
out of it. They're stuck. So the other question I got: did you go to therapy when you fix yourself, or did you fix yourself by yourself?
I forcefully had to go to therapy, but therapy didn't really do the thing for me. That's not really what helped me. It was forced. It was mandated.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, there was a lot of resistance. Most of the growth has occurred through sitting in isolation. I know it sounds crazy, but sitting in isolation for long periods of time. And like this is just one notebook. I literally have maybe 50 notebooks over the years of me figuring out myself and my life through journaling. It is like the number one habit, especially if we have more complex issues that we're dealing with in our life. We Because we'll be trapped in our thoughts a lot, and we don't really realize this until you sit down. Give yourself 5 minutes. of silence. Just get a blank piece of pen and a paper, and just whatever comes to mind, put down on the paper. Sometimes I write about a plan. Sometimes I write about my goals. What do I want to achieve? Sometimes I literally put today's date and I just start writing, hey, today this thing happened and I felt this way because of it. And I realized that this thing has happened multiple times. Like, however, you want to start breaking it apart. But once we take it out of our head and put it on paper, it sort of loses its power because now we are in control. We can now see it. Awareness is the first responsibility. We need to be aware of the problem. Once we do, we could take it out and then we could sort of work through those things.
Mm-hmm.
Because therapy is going to do something similar. It's technically having a coach or a mentor or a therapist ask you the correct questions about yourself, but they can't give you the answers. You have your own answers. You're the only person that has the answers. You just need to figure out how to stimulate those answers to come to the surface. And whether that's doing it by yourself or getting a coach or a mentor, either of those work.
So I agree with everything you're saying, except to about self fixing yourself, because I don't think that's the way to do it. That's my personal opinion.
Oh, okay.
And there's nothing wrong with that, obviously. Because if you don't talk about the problems, open up the problems, I think you're just causing more damage at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So my backstory with the whole therapist, I was the same way. I was forced to as a child to go to high school. They forced me to go through it. Yeah, as an adult, they made me through it. I actually started. I was at some point in my life, my adult and young adulthood. I will probably say yeah, I did say, I thought, excuse me, I thought therapy was a joke, mental health was a joke. I said it out loud about 3 years ago. I want to say no, less actually, about 2 years ago. I took it very seriously. I started taking okay, maybe it's time to actually take it serious. Let's try this one more time before. But let me not fight with it. Let me actually go with it, and it did help me. I didn't have a great therapist. That's also probably not didn't help that much. But if I had a better therapist, I think I would have done it 100 times better. To be honest with you, I think that you have to be careful what kind of therapist you pick. That's the other factor too.
100. A good way to weed this out is think of what you're looking to accomplish. Does that person have personal experience with it? If they do not, then my philosophy is disregard them, because anybody can read a textbook and regurgitate what they learned through a degree or a certification or a doctorate. But if that person does not have the unique experience that you're going through, if it's addiction, they didn't deal with addiction, don't listen. You don't need to listen to that person. They have no direct personal experience with it. If they are in fitness and they are not in shape themselves, don't listen to that person. No direct experience. And that alone will save you a ton of time, because you will find someone out there, whether it's a therapist. If it's not a therapist, that's why the coaching industry is so popular now, because you can get a coach for anything. You could have a coach for fitness, a coach for relationships, a coach for business, a coach for learning how to speak Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
You could have a coach for whatever you want to learn. And now that's the beauty of technology. And so, yeah, you can go through sort of a licensed person if you feel comfortable with that. But if not, that's what's helped my life tremendously. I didn't do everything on my own. I've done lots of journaling and stuff. But where some of this came out of, I've invested in seminars, courses, mentors, coaches. I've traveled to San Diego. I've traveled to Florida. I've traveled all over the place, to go to different events to learn how to better myself. And so you guys all have that same possibility or same option to do so.
I think the big difference now also you can get all this stuff online too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you might not have to even pay for it. Like you can type in Coach K for example on BME show, Black Network, and she has some good things. And a lot of stuff you can just Google it and you can get it for free. You don't need to go travel like you
yeah,
did. And
yeah.
I assume that was before the YouTube blew up. I assume.
Well,
Um,
that's how I met. That's how I met a lot of those people. I met them online, and then I went to some of their events. I met some of these people in person, and then forged relationships based off of those events. So,
that's pretty cool and interesting because you can leave me a lot of people online. Like you never know
oh
who you're
yeah,
gonna meet.
yep,
Like I met a couple of guys from you guys. Like Paul, like my buddy Paul, I do my Sunday show. I met him through YouTube, and now we're really good friends. And like, who knew that was gonna happen? I never expected that shit. And I met him in person, literally. Like, fucker's tall. Like, holy shit, dude, you're tall. But yeah, PTSD and people. I don't think people understand how serious this is, Gibby,
Oh yeah.
and that affects your work ethic. Your work, not I mean work only at home. I mean going to work. I mean work, going to the gym. Your project around the houses, whatever it is. But if you find something that detoxes you, do it. I know some guys who build Lego sets.
Yeah.
Go for it. I'm not gonna knock you for it. I'm like, even they're a little overpriced in my opinion, but if that makes you detox and works for you, then do it. Nothing's stopping you but you. We got on this, Nick.
Yeah, anything we can do to help our physical health, our mental health, if that's a little hobby or a little thing you do on the side, because you have the ability to pull yourself out. Like no one's coming to save you. Like that is a quote that has really changed. Like no one is coming to save you at all. No matter what you're going through, no one's coming to save you from it. So if you want to use something as an excuse, and it's not to downplay things, because I have firsthand experience with it, but I would make a lot of excuses in my life. Like
Mm-hmm.
I purposely wanted to be stuck. And then if you want to be unstuck, it takes a lot of work, but you have to be willing to be unstuck and you will figure out how to do so. Because the obstacle is the way. There's a book by Ryan Holiday. It's called The Obstacle is the Way. And if you look at it that way, let's say the obstacle is depression, or the obstacle is PTSD, or that is someone's obstacle, it is the way for them. What I mean by that is you can either use it to hold yourself back and use that as the excuse. Oh, well, I can't do this because of my PTSD, or I can't do this because I'm just depressed. The same way you're identifying as depressed, you could identify yourself as energetic, as positive. You may need to listen to affirmations every single day to rearrange your subconscious to make you fall in love with yourself. Not from an egotistical standpoint, more so from self love and self compassion, where you're not trying to do things that destroy you, rather you're only trying to do things that help your growth.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing is, self destruction is a big thing. People don't realize they're doing it to themselves. Like I don't think even I think everybody does it at one point in their life, but I don't think people actually stop and see they're doing it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, man and women's greatest enemy is their own selves.
Yeah.
Because we'll be able to rationalize things, and we'll rationalize it in sake of saving the ego. So no matter what we go to do, we can come up with an excuse or a reason of why that thing is right. And so that's why we become our own worst enemy. But with that said, we could also use that power for good and start to go in the other direction.
And the question everybody needs to ask themselves is, when are you gonna stop doing that to yourself? When was a wake up call for you?
There's been multiple. Things have not been a completely smooth ride. Sometimes you go through. There may be a year that things don't go so well, and you got to sort of pick yourself out of that again. But yeah, so there's it hasn't been one particular sort of wake up call. So it's been many of them at different points through different scenarios,
Mm-hmm.
but always learning a lesson from it of wow. And so that's even what's happening in my life as of recently. That's sort of why I'm getting the project off the ground and getting the accountability group off the ground, because I realized that not everything is based on fitness. Like fitness is very important, but there's other issues like mental health and self-sabotage and things that we're talking about now, where people do need support and accountability with. And so we could just take a look at our life and our circumstances and figure out what, like this, it comes back to goal setting, like you brought up before. We need to know where we're going or what we're looking to achieve. And then from there, we can start to figure out the steps to get there. And then those steps may be habits. Think about the act. So you think about where you want to go, the person you want to become, because who you are today, if you're not 100% happy with that person, the good news is you don't have to be that person tomorrow. You could wake up as a brand new person. How do you want to look? How do you want to feel? What do you want to eat? What habits do you want to have? And once you know that, every day you just start getting up and trying to do more of those things. Before you know it, you're going to be that new person without even blinking an eye.
Hmm. That is fascinating because people don't realize it. The way you put it down, I never were like break it down like that for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Go
I
ahead.
learned that when I was really, really sick. So I had a major skin rash, eczema issues, psoriasis, lots of major health issues going on, and for many years. And it was actually one of the coaches I worked with. They asked me a question that stopped me in my tracks, and they say, why do you enjoy being sick so much? And I actually like got offended and was ready to like react with anger because I was like, how dare you? Like, I'm paying you for you to tell me that. But it was a huge wake up call because I understood what they were meaning by it. Why do you keep putting all your focus on I'm sick? I have food sensitivities. I have low energy. You're using that energy to make an identity. You can
Mm-hmm.
use the same amount of energy to make a different identity. I'm healthy. I'm athletic. I'm strong. I'm vibrant. Same exact energy. It's what outcome do you want? And the more I started doing that, it didn't just magically get me healthy overnight, but literally within about 3 weeks, my skin started to completely clear. Most of those issues started to clear up. And I realized the power of our mindset and how we view ourselves. Because what does this person do versus this person? This person may smoke cigarettes and drink and stay up too late and all these things. And what does this person do? They go to the gym. They eat healthy. They don't eat fast food. They hardly ever drink. Okay, so if I want to be more like this person, I just have to do those things. It's literally that simple.
You know, it always frustrated me personally, to be honest with you. As you see those guys eating like shit, smoking, doing everything they're not supposed to, and they're ripped to shreds, and they have the body, girls throwing them themselves. I'm not saying I want that. I'm just saying when I was younger, like in my 20s, like shit, what can I be like that? I'm like I don't get it. But then you look, find out later on they're not that healthy, or they have some other demons inside.
Yeah, and we can. It's a comparison is the thief of joy. Someone may look a certain way on the outside, but we don't know what they're dealing with. We don't know like we really wouldn't want to trade shoes with every single person that we encounter because we don't know how bad their life actually been, what they're actually going through. So we have to focus on what we're able to do and what we have control over.
And that's a good point right there. Like you don't know what one person's going through versus the other. You just gotta deal with it the best you can. Each situation is unique to you, and that's where you need to be unique.
Oh
Right,
yeah,
Mike?
and then it complete fitness is a prime example of this because you do have people that have amazing genetics. They hardly work out. They're strong. They're pretty physically fit. They could eat like cake, candy, all this stuff,
I
drink
hated candy.
soda, and yeah, they're still in shape. It sucks because I'm like, oh, why can't my life be easy like that? Like I have to be super disciplined. If I stop fasting, I stop doing all the stuff I'm doing. I will lose my abs. I will lose my definite. It'll disappear overnight. And so because of that, I have to do a lot of hard work to maintain, but it's worth it. And so we can't like compare. Like I'd rather have it this way because through the hardship, through the struggle, you gain more skills. You become better in the game of life. Like this,
Mm-hmm.
this is why I call it the Upgraded Man Project. You're gathering tools, you're gathering experiences and skills, and you're leveling up to play the game better. And that's really what it comes down to, is to be able to just how do we take who we are today and how do we become 1% better each day? That may be eating a healthier meal. That may be getting yourself a book. That it could be anything. Going for a little mini vacation somewhere, whatever that is. How can you make things 1% better for you day by day? And before you know it, life is going to start to look so much better.
Yeah, and I agree with you because everything will happen if you put the time and work into it. It takes time, but if you do it, the limits is your limits. End of story.
Yeah, and there's no mistakes. There's only lessons learned. A mistake would be if something happened and you didn't learn anything from it. But that hardly ever happens. Usually, you learn some form of lesson from a mistake, and as long as you learn that lesson and don't make that mistake again, it becomes very valuable in life.
And exactly, because it's everything's a learning lesson. Everything you do, from walking to breathing to shitting, whatever. If you take everything as a lesson, time is your best friend then, because you can change things as things go on. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, all right, we're an hour and a half into it. Do you want to call it? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I was planning on about like 7:30 or so.
All right, call it early stream tonight because I gotta go to bed and wake up at early in the
Yes.
morning because everybody's gonna be sleeping when I get up. So, except that, guys. Any final thoughts, Nick?
Actually, I really I like this type of topic. Like this type, I know we cover a lot of fitness stuff, nutrition,
Mm-hmm.
which is important because sharing that information is really important for people. But topics like this, I'm also looking forward to discussing a little more because this is where a lot of the problems emanate from. So if we wanted to say root cause, like this is the root cause of most of people's issues. It's not that people lack discipline or people don't want to go work out or people don't want to become healthier or eat better. Why those things are hard is because usually we're holding on to negativity, we're holding on to trauma, we're making excuses. All these things are sort of getting in the way. So if we focus here and we clear up the roots, the tree then has enough energy to grow. And so I
Yeah.
think it's important to have physical health, but also like the mental health, because there's no rule book for life. We're all here as humans trying to figure this journey of life out, and then we all are learning from each other and collecting experiences and sharing experiences in hopes that it may help you out, and your experiences may help me out, and ultimately we may have a better quality of life because of that.
See, here's the thing. If you really think about it, like since we start coaching, you learned a different way to coach too, because things you thought work don't always work, and
Yep.
we realized, okay, we gotta do things a little different with me. So that
Yep.
is a. I know it's not the best example, but it is a good example. So, besides that, I said, with your saying that, so even on Fat to Fit, when we start up again in a week or two,
Yep.
we can carve this up if you want to. I'm okay with that. Or you can come on to Spartan Arena a little more. The arena starts at 9:30. Like I know that's kind of late for you because you have other things going on sometimes.
Because
So we can.
sleep is very important.
Don't remind me. I'm gonna be lacking of it a lot in this next week. So if somebody want to join, Nick, you're more welcome to. So it's doors always open. You know, you have the link always. So your door is up to you whenever you want to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. I really enjoyed this type of topic because I think we could dive a little deeper. And then also, if anybody has any questions at all, you could leave it below this video, and then we can answer it on our next show together. So the next time we have a show, if you have a certain topic you want us to discuss, or you have a certain question or challenge that you're struggling with, leave a comment below so we know, and we could sort of structure our call or our podcast around that next time. That way we can help you out as best as possible.
And another thing, guys, I also my email is in the description. So if you don't feel comfortable leaving it in the comments, leave it in an email. It's fine. All emails are private, so don't worry about it. Nobody's gonna know who or what. So except that, obviously he is Nick. Yeah, that's Nick. I am Ghost of Spar. This is Grooming Reviews. As always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh, time out. I went too fast tonight. Saturday show is canceled. My bad, guys. I have to work, so I will be coming home at 8, and I have to go to bed early, so I jumped the gun. So I apologize. The show will be canceled on Saturday. Sunday, I'm not sure what's going on yet. I'm going to talk to Paul, see how we're going to move that around if we can. So, except that, like I said, he's Nick. He's Nick. I'm, Ghost of Spar. Man, I'm having a hard time tonight. Let's try this one more time. He is Nick. I am Ghost of Spar. This is Grooming Reviews. As always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.